¿Qué ondas, primos?
Primas
y primes.
Welcome to
My Primos.
My Primos
My
Primo
Podcast. Welcome to the My Primos Podcast.
My name is Freddie.
My name's Kevin Garcia.
My name is Elia Maria Matriz.
My name is John Avina.
This is Chikume, whenever I can make it.
My Primos Podcast discusses all things fandom and pop culture,
From comic books,
Movies?
To whatever obsession we have this week.
but with a Latine
Malatine.
perspective. Remember, we're all primos,
We're all primes.
Primas.
Primos.
no matter what part of the world we're from. ¿Qué ondas, primos, primas, and primes? And welcome back to My Primos Podcast. I'm your primo, Freddie, and with me tonight is my primo and yours, Mr. Kevin Garcia.com. Say what's up, Kevin.
What's up, Kevin?
There he is, everybody. Mr. Kevin Garcia is back. Kevin, we also have a guest with us today, Mr. Alan Trezza. Say what's up, Alan.
What's up? Hola, ¿qué tal? How's everyone doing out there?
Doing good, doing good. We know that you have a movie and a comic coming out, and I'm noticing your shirt is already on brand. Did you get that? Yeah, where'd you get that shirt?
Yeah, some shameless self-promotion. Actually, I think it's a friend of mine found it on a website somewhere and bought it for me. And yeah, I was very, very surprised. But I'm
That'd be
super
crazy.
happy.
If they're already making like knockoff, like dope Rosario T-shirts, like whoa, there's a cult following for this already.
You know, I didn't think about it being a knockoff. I got to check with my lawyer then. So. Thanks for letting me know that.
Now you gotta see where we gotta go collect, right? But Alan, you know, we're talking about Rosario, the film that you well, let's slow down because I get kind of excited about it. And Primos, of course, follow us along at My Primos Podcast. Of course, we'll have all the updates for you here from pop culture from a Latino lens, and as you know it, myprimospodcast.com as well. Alan, Rosario.
Yes.
It's a comic book, not necessarily, because the comic book is an origin that'll kind of a preamble that'll lead us into the film. Can you talk about, I guess, Rosario in general, and then we'll kind of walk through each item?
Okay. So Rosario actually started off as a film, a script that I wrote during COVID. If you remember those dark, terrible times, we were all in lockdown. We didn't know if there was any end in sight. We had family members dying left and right. A lot of us were locked in our homes. And there were many stories of people whose loved ones would pass away in the middle of the night. And due to shortage of first aid responders, they would have to sit the body, for lack of a better term, or stay with the body sometimes for hours or days, waiting for an ambulance. And I thought, what a horrible, horrible nightmare to have to deal with. So that sort of was the impetus. But also at the same time, there was a lot of talk, and unfortunately, there's still talk and discourse about the border and immigration. And being a Latino myself and being married to a Latina, I started to see that in order to really make it in this country, we have to sacrifice not just our time, not just our ideals. Sometimes we have to sacrifice our identity. We have to change our hair. We have to change our accents. We have to change our names, and those two nightmarish realizations kind of melded into what became Rosario. So it became a journey of
assimilation becomes an enemy, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yes, I say America likes to think of itself as promoting immigration. However, what they're really promoting is assimilation.
Yeah. It's the whole idea of the melting pot and literally melting together into one product.
Yeah. As long as you do the melting. So it became the story of Rosario, who is forced to stay with her deceased grandma's corpse, and over the course of a night, starts to reconnect with who she was and starts to realize the sacrifices not only she made to get where she is as a successful stockbroker on Wall Street, but also the sacrifices her ancestors had made so that she could realize that dream. And that's basically where that came from. The comic was a proposition by the great people over at Mucho Mas and Chispas, who I cannot speak highly enough of, who came to me after finding success with a tie-in comic with another one of their films called Black Demon, which was a shark movie. And they said, hey, we think that there's room for a Rosario tie-in. What do you think? And since this movie, Rosario delves into, like I said, ancestors and the sacrifices they made, I thought that the comic would be a great way to show the ancestors and to show the grandmother, who we only see a corpse of in the film, to see her, what it was like for her in Zacatecas, Mexico, growing up. And I was very on board and very happy to see the comic come to life just a few months later, and it looks beautiful. I'm so proud of it and so happy.
Yeah, and the film, the comic book is coming out later in July. End of July is what I'm being told right now. That hopefully we can get it, right around that time frame. If not, just keep your eyes peeled, Primos. But it is coming soon.
Yeah, you talk about the comic book. That I got to read a preview of it, and we get this history going back generations, and then of course in the movie you've got some time passing from the opening scene to the rest of it, and it seems like Rosario herself is kind of blending in with the majority culture of the U.S. And there's a distance between her and where she came from, or her family rather, where her family came from. And I think it's using horror to reconnect with your culture is just an interesting tactic, but I kind of like it.
Well, yeah, I mean, again, her realization of, oh my God, what did I give up to become who I am now? My identity, my culture, that's a nightmare. That's a horror movie. I thought it fit really well with what I was trying to say.
Watching the film and then kind of like, I feel these have to go hand in hand. Like if you watch the film and you go, and I think if you're able to get both of these things in front of you, right, the film and the book, it's great to go back to the book because it is an origin and it kind of ties in a lot of the questions I would have had, or I had watching the film. Like my wife, for example, she's the main one. She always does it during the film. What does that mean? What does he say? Like, who's that guy? Like, who was the person? Like, and like, okay, like, let me break it down for you. But the book really helps kind of usher it in. When she read it, she read the preview as well. She's like, oh, okay. I get it. I fills in those gaps. You mentioned, the sacrifice, right? That she had to give up to kind of assimilate, or in that whole, like, that word. But it also felt like, and me watching it, and just correct me, but it also kind of teeters between that guilt. Not only that, like what I had give up, but the guilt that you carry, or that you carried, because there's this idea of, and I've heard it, maybe we've all heard it here being Latinos, is like, oh man, my parents traveled from this country, they worked so hard to get here, and then it dumps it on you. And so there is that conversation of, because there is a belief of, hey, yes, I appreciate where I came from, what my parents did for me, but it doesn't define me. But at the same time, it should, because that's where we come from, right? Is that what you're trying to invoke?
I mean, not a sense of guilt, but maybe a sense of acceptance when we maybe, don't see eye to eye with a loved one, or seem that a loved one might seem out of touch. Well, maybe we don't know their whole story. Maybe we don't know exactly what they went through in order to get us here where we're having this current conversation. So it's really more about understanding, and not so much about guilt. And as Rosario says in the film, she says, my parents made those sacrifices because they loved me, not because they wanted anything in return, but because they loved me. So again, it's about realization of, oh my God, I'm so short-sighted, or I'm so wrapped up in my own nonsense that I don't realize that the person I'm yelling at about some stupid, nonsensical issue risked their life to get me here. That type of thing. Yeah, and I think it's something a lot of children of immigrants, if they don't know already, should at least accept. I mean, they're the sacrifices of their ancestors in order to get them to where they are.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think it's a great message because oftentimes, even amongst us and my generation, we'd have that conversation like, man, like I can remember being told these stories of my grandparents and my, my family members being brought in, being brought or coming over and having to struggle, learning the language, learning how to navigate everything, and being lost, being scared. And yet a lot of the times, a lot of us or those that were so far removed on the generations tend to forget that. So
Yes.
I mean, you do bring those feelings up, and I go, yeah, it makes sense now when I'm talking to the guy that wrote it. It helps kind of makes sense for me. Kevin, your thoughts on it?
Well, like I said, I liked it a lot, and you mentioned Black Demon at the beginning. I liked both movies, the both movies that are connected between Mucho Mas and Chispa, and both of them have this kind of feel of a distance between the earlier culture from, in terms of like generational culture from Mexico, and then a reconnect through danger, which I still can't get over that kind of concept, because usually when I see people talking about reconnecting with their past, the ancestral past or their culture, it's usually more of like a family thing or one of those like somber things. But to make it more of like fear, and I feel like there's a combination of her, Rosario again coming back in, not knowing a lot about her grandmother, her family's past, and also maybe not having had a interest in looking into it prior to this. So now that she's kind of forced into the situation, she's kind of like digging further into it because she has to.
That's right.
But I want to ask you one thing though. You mentioned COVID at the beginning as well, and the thing is, this is a very claustrophobic movie. It feels very much like she's not literally trapped in the room, most of it, a lot of it. But even when she's not literally trapped, she feels trapped, and I feel like the camera is very tied in on her. Were you trying to evoke that kind of sense of claustrophobia?
Yeah, I mean, there's a very huge difference between where we open the movie in her high-rise apartment, overlooking the city. Everything's glass and steel, to where she ends up, which is her grandmother's apartment, which is dark and dim and dingy in some ways. So yes, I did want her to come face to face with the reality that she shunned her past, she shunned her family, she shunned her heritage, and now she's forced to face it, and there's no escape. And this is all going to come to a head tonight, and it's basically her having to look inwards in order to make that realization and hopefully move on from it. So that's why the whole claustrophobic sense and atmosphere came through. I wanted someone to be forced to reckon with who they are and what they had to do to get to where they are. So
there's no escape with that, right? When you have to go through this process, when you come to that realization, those moments in life, there's no escape. They're always going to be solitary, right? They're going to be a solitary experience. And so you invoke that really, really well in the film. And even I really do enjoy the atmosphere. I love, your cinematography you chose was great. I think that, this film is available now, by the way, I believe, correct? For purchase and for View on Demand?
Yeah. iTunes, Amazon, the whole deal, for sure, yeah.
Yeah, and so Primos, definitely check it out. And of course, then keep an eye out for the Chispa book coming out soon as well here at the end of July. It's well worth it, especially that kind of fills in those gaps for those that need it. And it's a great read on its own because it does. And let me ask you, I'm not putting you on the spot, but this is being the origin. We have the tie-in film. Is there talks of something else coming in the Rosario verse,
There very well might be. I don't want to jump the gun though, but since we're dealing with a family at its core, there's generations that we can explore. So we're not ruling anything out.
No, I think it's a great idea. Go ahead.
I noticed those posters behind you. Can you tell us a little bit about some of your other experiences in the film?
Most definitely, yeah. So my Rosario one sheet for the movie is actually being framed right now. Otherwise, it'd be right there next to it. So it's being framed. I should have it in a week. So right behind me over here, this was my first produced film called Burying the X, a zombie comedy starring the late, great Anton Yelchin, who you might know from the Star Trek films. He played Chekhov, an extraordinary actor. Also in the cast were Ashley Greene, coming out of the ground. You know her from Twilight. And then Alexandra Daddario, who you probably know from Baywatch and True Detective and Mayfair Witches and Percy Jackson and tons of other films. Yeah. So my first produced script, directed by horror legend and one of my personal heroes, Joe Dante. He directed Gremlins, Inner Space, The Howling,
I've been watching a lot of Joe Dante movies the past week. That's actually a funny coincidence.
Oh, how cool. Which ones? The Howling?
I want to say, no, some of his more softer sci-fi. I think he did like Explorers, for example.
Yeah.
So I was introducing them to my partner. She didn't watch a lot. She hadn't seen a lot of his 80s movies. We were watching those there. So
Yeah. He discovered Ethan Hawke and River Phoenix on that movie. Yeah. The first film for both of them.
Yeah, we literally were watching the beginning. She's like, "Is that Ethan Hawke?"
Yes. Such an amazing person. I learned so much working with him, and we still keep in touch, and he's just the greatest. Over my other shoulder, that's We Summon the Darkness. That was my second produced film. It came out at the height of COVID, unfortunately. It was going to get a very nice wide theatrical release. Only problem was it was scheduled for release, I think, May 2020.
Yeah.
That was a bit of a bummer, so it ended up going to Netflix instead. But found a really great audience, and it's my homage to 80s heavy metal. I was in a heavy metal band all throughout the 80s and was called a Satanist because I wore dark clothes and listened to King Diamond and, Judas Priest. So that was my homage to that. That stars also Alexandra Daddario. We had such a great time working on Burying the X that we made another movie together, as well as the incredible Johnny Knoxville. I'm very, very proud of both of those. And Rosario will be right next to We Summon very, very shortly.
Definitely. Rosario. Man, I know that we have you for a short time, and I appreciate you taking the time here, but, can you tell the Primos where they can find you or follow you? If people want to just know about other Latinos creating and highlighting their work too. Like, where can people find you?
Yeah, well, I'm not on any socials, actually. I like my work to speak for itself. I really like my work to speak for itself. And if anybody wants to know anything about me, I think they can learn it through my movies. They're all extraordinarily personal to me. As I told you about Rosario coming from being the child of immigrants, as well as being in an 80s heavy metal band. The zombie thing, that's a little bit more kind of fabricated, but there's a lot of me in that movie as well.
So you've never buried an ex?
I'm neither confirm or deny that.
Fair enough.
The investigation is still ongoing, and but I can just say that I can neither confirm nor deny. And on the advice of counsel, I can no longer engage in questions.
You know what? That's the best answer we can expect at this time, everybody. But Alan, I want to just thank you so much for visiting with the Primos here today. And please feel free to come back any other time. We can geek out over films. Trust me, we have just a stable of stuff here we can geek out over. But thank you for coming on the show. And Primos, go check out Rosario. Yeah. Go watch it. It's definitely worth your time. And of course, keep an eye out for the book coming from Chispa and those comics. And
really
Primos,
appreciate it.
Próxima.
Thank you so much.
Take care, Primos.
Thank you.
You got it.
All right. And with that, let's listen to some more Sin Color, and then it'll be just me and Freddie talking about this week's pop culture.
Kevin, we are back. That was Sin Color. Thank you, Sin Color, of course, for providing the music for the show. Always, always, always. Muchas gracias, prima. Kevin, we had a guest talking about films. We love films. We watch films. We think we know enough about them to critique at times. We don't really do that much here on the show very much anymore. I think we should bring it back, personally. I think we should make more. I think the Primo scale, it needs to be redone. I think we can do that. I like the scale. Maybe okay, fine. I can expand. We had a very basic understanding of our scale, but we can leave that for another time, for an off camera. We even we did a list with Neil Gibson, a good episode there with Superman. We don't do that, but why not? I think we should, as things go on and the franchises are just expanded more than they should be, which we'll talk about here shortly. The lists, we know lists are good. The internet loves lists. But besides that, movies. Kevin Garcia.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about movies today. We've watched a lot of things here and there. You start us off. What have you watched recently that you want to bring up to the Primos?
Well, look, I've watched a lot of new movies, and I really want to talk about those. But I want to talk about one old movie that is just nuts. I mentioned it, well, off camera to you before, which is Dr. Seuss made a live-action movie in 1953, and no one ever talks about it. It flopped horribly, and it's got a kind of a weird-sounding name. It's the 5,000 Fingers of Dr. T.
Okay. Is that a Dr. Seuss book?
No, weirdly enough.
Okay.
And but it completely watches like one, and to get an idea of how
do you watch it? Hold on. Let's bring it back. How does it watch like a Dr. Seuss movie? Because there hasn't been any that during that time. But Dr. Seuss films now are what is it? Mike Myers was Cat in the Hat, right?
I'm going to say, even if you're only talking about the animated Dr. Seuss movies, like say the Lorax or whatever.
Okay.
Those are still more grounded in reality than this movie,
Wow.
And so that by itself tells you this is a better movie. I mean, at least closer to Dr. Seuss's vision anyway. Because like the sets are just immaculate. They look like his drawings come to life. And it's a combination of real sets and matte paintings, but they look to be massive. It looks as if they made sets like the size of Times Square of just his weird buildings kind of overarching into each other, ladders that go to
would
nowhere.
it have been like the Ron Howard Grinch, how he built the sets and all that?
Again, that's too grounded in reality for this. This is literally like real people walking around in a cartoon. The bad guy, one of his outfits looks like they just took one of Dr. Seuss's drawings and just made it into like a gown for him to wear, because like you can tell like the black in the outfit is meant to be the way Dr. Seuss would draw like wrinkles in an outfit in clothing. So like it's just literally that come to life. There's the opening scene of the movie has this kid being chased by spotlights, but the spotlights are on the head of actors dressed in full body like skin tight costumes, chasing him around with their spotlights on their heads. I'm like, this is Dr. Seuss come to life. And the thing is,
wow,
the world wasn't ready for this. I got to read this from the Wikipedia.
Okay.
The Hollywood premiere in 1953, according to this, people watching the movie began to trickle out after 15 minutes. After an hour, it was just a flood of people walking out. The leading man was quoted as saying, by the end of the premiere, there was only one little boy left in the theater, and he was just waiting for his parents. And the thing is that like that's how badly this was received. But it's a musical. It's colorful. If it's all about like fighting against authority and about listening to youth, if this had come out in 1968 instead of 1953, everybody would be talking about it today. It'd be there.
You know what? I'm watching. By the way, Primos, you can go to IMDb. There is a trailer, full color. By the way,
yes, it is a full color.
Okay, 1953, full color. The 5,000 Fingers of Dr. T.
And by the way, the little boy is the best actor in this movie. He acts like if you watch 50s movies, there's this kind of artificiality to it all. Even though he's in this cartoon of a musical, he has this realistic acting ability that is much more modern. Like he feels like you took a modern actor and put him in this 1953 movie. And what that little boy did after this was Lassie. And the reason for that is because apparently there's 2 scenes in the movie where he interacts with the dog, and the dog trainer is like, I heard you guys are making a dog TV show. This should be your main kid. He's really good with the dog. And sure enough, he was the main Lassie kid for years.
This is interesting. It gives me like Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, 100%. Although I actually like this better.
It gives me Wizard of Oz vibes. Look at that. Be careful. There's a lot of like Oz fans out there. Calm down, Wizard of Oz. And and Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, like Willy Wonka, it gives me a lot of that vibe. Because I mean, you know what? I would be down because I'm a big fan of the Phantom Toll Booth live action movie from the 70s. I love that movie.
Yeah, that's
because it starts live
movie,
action. Yeah, and then it goes into animation, right? But I love that film, and I think I would have watched this if it was like you said, if it was something that was released later on. I think it would have been right up there, played in schools, and I'm seeing a scene with the kid and a blowtorch.
So there's
a lot going on
10 to 20 songs in the movie, depending on how you count them. But like 2 of them are wordless. And the idea of like wordless songs in a musical is kind of entertaining.
Wow, this guy can pick. Okay, I like that. This guy, hey, you want a cigar? He brings you out 500 cigars to pick from and 500 different brandies. And go with the trailer, Primos, because it's we'll have the editor
it's
put a
worth
piece of
finding.
it here.
It's worth finding. All right, but okay, that's the past. New movies. What's something new you've seen?
The past. New or new? Because there's like new and there's new.
Yes.
So yes, okay. So I would say new. Obviously, Superman would have been the newest thing I've seen recently.
Same.
But I'm gonna watch Fantastic Four. We're gonna watch Together. That's coming down the line, which I'm really gonna watch. I'm excited about. Have you seen the trailers for Together? The body horror, like James Franco.
I'm not a big body horror guy. It's
Together.
Interesting. I've seen the trailers. It's definitely got my attention.
It's enough where we want to go see it. At least me and my kiddo do. So Jurassic Park Rebirth, Jurassic World, excuse me, because I'm still in my brain. It's always Jurassic Park. But Jurassic World.
I gave up after the first Rebirth. Jurassic World movie, so I don't actually know how the franchise.
Let's talk about Jurassic World in a sense here. Right. So the film itself, here's the premise of it. It's been so many years removed from when Chris Pratt's crew let the dinosaurs escape the island or whatever, the last world one you saw, okay? Yeah. So they get loose in the world, and it's been so many years removed from it. I would say near future because they say it's been almost 30 years since they've been released, so that's a long time.
Wait, are you sure they're not talking 30 years since the first movie?
No, because I please forgive me, but just to kind of move through the premise of it, but it's been some time. So much so, this is how I say it's been so much time that they're dying off. They're now burdensome in the sense of like a dinosaur's dying in the street and it's a traffic jam to them. And they got to deal with it. Like, oh, fuck, another dinosaur died on the road today. Oh, they're a nuisance. Like, museums have shut down because people are like, they're like, hey, I don't care about the bones of one. I can technically go to the zoo to see one. And I'm kind of bored of that. Like the world's done with like dinosaurs.
Watchmen don't read superhero comics because why would you?
It's kind of like that where the world's kind of done with dinos. Like, hey, it's kind of, we're done. Like, they're dying off. And it's kind of, the science behind it is great because they say things like, because of the lack of vegetation in the world, because of the pollution, because of all this.
Yeah, like, they're definitely an invasive species and they wouldn't be able to handle it.
They can't handle it, but they've been able to survive by living by the equator. It is the hottest. That we kind of like mimic some of the temperatures that were back at the time where they were thriving. The plant life is more there, and it's for all the world governments have said, hey, it's forbidden area, forbidden waters, all this stuff. And they roam free. They stay to that area. They don't just run across land or anything. Okay. I can get how it's been so much time, right? Fine. The world becomes jaded over things quickly, right? Superheroes, look at that. That happens like Watchmen, right?
Yeah.
But in this scenario, we get Scarlett Johansson, and she's being headhunted by a corporation wanting to develop heart medication. Okay, and so they want the blood samples of the largest dinosaurs or dinos that they can get their hands on, so that they can make this medicine. Because the bigger the animal, the bigger the heart, the bigger that stronger they can make your heart for heart disease or whatever. Okay,
sure, makes perfect sense.
It has escape me right now. Please forgive me. The actor who is going to play Blade or was going to play Blade,
still could,
is in the film. Okay,
we remain hopeful.
I'm sorry. Was. We're probably going to get an animated Blade before we get Blade. It's going to happen. But point is this: we focus so much on this crew gathering, like it's a heist movie. Like they have to go basically and go track down each person and get them on the crew. And when they do, we're all like, for a movie about dinosaurs, there's not a lot of dinosaurs here, right? Then we meet a family that's traveling through the Forbidden Zone for some reason, which
Always
they say
is one.
don't go there. It's always a family.
That's how Jurassic Park 3 started, wasn't it? Yes.
Jurassic Park 3 was more like they were doing it on purpose because they knew, hey, let's get as close as we can to the island so that you can see something, right? Like a glimpse of them. No, in this scenario, they're driving too close. They get attacked by a aquatic dinosaur, and the movie begins. So 30 to 45 minutes of like gathering people and the reasoning behind it and why are we doing this. We see a dinosaur. And then the movie happens. And if you miss the beginning, everybody, I'm not going to spoil it, but if you miss the beginning, you know how Jurassic Park, the original, the OG, in my opinion, like the best, they have the scene with the raptors at the beginning of that movie, transferring them in Costa Rica, right?
Yeah.
There's a scene like that at the beginning of this movie that is very important because if you miss it, if you go get soda or go to the restroom and you just come back and the ending happens, you're like, what is this? Like, you will be completely lost. My sister had that happen to her. She went with her partner to watch the film. We're all Jurassic geeks. And then she came back and she goes, oh, you missed so-and-so. She goes, what are you talking about? She watched the ending of the movie. She's like, what? Her girlfriend had to tell her, oh, that's because of this at the beginning where you weren't there. And she's like, that sucks. Like, so I missed something important. So a lot of holes.
I don't know.
I think they need to retire.
I watched the Jurassic movies because I wanted to see humans interact with dinosaurs, right? And then they lost me when they started introducing fake dinosaurs, like just making up new things to be scary, and B, when like random people would die that like, it's one thing about horror movies is usually you're either going to sympathize with somebody who dies or you're going to hate them and good, they died, one or the other. And like random innocent people died on camera brutally in Jurassic World, and I was like, I don't need this in the movie.
Kevin, there's a character that we hate, kind of.
Okay.
Redeems themselves, kind of, in the movie. Okay. But we would have been fine with them dying, and they set it up. They tease you. They even hold on, Kevin. A guy goes to pee in the woods in the dark, and you freaking hear raptors. And you're like, okay, this is the raptor scene we're gonna get. No, you don't get it.
Just get a scene of somebody peeing. That's what you get to watch.
You get a scene of somebody peeing. It's done for comedic effect. But we were ready for like, I need a dinosaur to do something. Like this isn't working for me. And I think they need to retire the T-Rex. Just saying it. Like
fair enough.
The T-Rex was sleeping, and they used them. Like, okay, you were sleeping.
I could just see the T-Rex showed up and like, look, I'm just here for the paycheck. I'm going to be in my trailer. Just write me into the finale. I'll be good.
That's what it was. I mean, in all seriousness, yes, there is an action sequence, what have you, but I feel like it's become so like we're done with dinosaurs. I think we're done with Jurassic World movies. Like it kind of mimics that in the film world. This is supposed to be the start of the new trilogy, is
what I heard.
That's what I heard, but I'm like, if the dinosaurs are dying off, right? Pollution is getting them. They only exist in a certain amount of land. I mean, eventually they're just going to die off. I mean, what's the point of rehashing? You've already created fake dinosaurs. You've already, at this point, because they've been in zoos, you've taken whatever DNA you need from them to make whatever you need. This seemed like such a stretch. And we got to see new dinosaurs. I got to see a Quetzalcoatl on screen. I got to see that. That was cool. We got to see a dinosaur like an hour into the movie. So if that helps gauge my excitement for this, yeah.
I'm actually...
Watch it with streaming.
I'm actually not afraid, that's the wrong word. I'm not opposed to movies that wait a bit before they show you the creature, the reveal. I say this because like that's the way movies used to be back in the day, and we've gotten very used to kind of the immediate gratification kind of stuff for movies. But talking about new movies, I saw Elio, and Elio is the new Pixar movie that got.
By the way, hashtag Elio is my homeboy. Okay, Elio will know what that means. Elio is her gaming persona.
Oh, well, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But Elio is a movie that got almost no support from advertising as far as Disney goes. I mean, there were a few ads. That was about it. They didn't really push it the way they pushed, say, Inside Out 2. Or, hell, they already have ads for Zootopia 2, which was going to be months ahead of it when Elio barely got any kind of support. And then they're like, what? I can't believe it didn't make money. But it was actually really good. In fact, I think I enjoyed it more than many of the recent Pixar movies. I enjoyed it more than Inside Out 1 or 2. You know,
does it give you the feels, Kevin? That's something that
it gave me the feels. But it also has a lot of references to, we talked about Joe Dante earlier, has a lot of references to 80s movies. Like there's scenes in there that are referencing Last Starfighter. There's scenes in there that are referencing
great movie.
Gremlins, scenes in there referencing a lot of these kind of things. Explorers. Heck, there's a character in there whose last name is Melmac. And I couldn't help but crack up because I was like, that's Alf.
Of course.
Alf is a Melmacian.
Yes, Alf. Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, it's like, you know, so it definitely is a love letter to those movies, TV shows, but it's also very heartfelt because I watched this little kid who feels like he does not fit in and wishes he could just go to space where maybe he'll find people that accept him. And I'm like, you know, I was that little kid. I feel like that little kid oftentimes, you know, and you know, it's such a heartwarming movie that was slept on by so many people. And it's funny because I watched it in one of the kid-friendly showings. So there's a whole audience of kids there. And then, they were cracking up with it. They were crying with it. They were like worried about stuff happening. Like, oh no, he's got to do the thing, you know? And it was just, I wish this movie got the support that Inside Out 2 did. You know what I mean? Because Inside Out 2 is not a movie that would need to be made. And in fact, what I remember watching it, like, it was a good movie. It's good. But I remember thinking, I'm more interested in this girl's development than I am interested in the, you know, emotions inside her head. I wish we got a movie about her. And this is that movie. This is the movie about the kid growing up and not about the anthropomorphic feelings on the inside, you know?
I feel like films like this and like Elemental, was that it? Elemental?
Yeah, Elemental.
I think that was
that was also experimental, did something different. Yeah.
Didn't get the same attention. I mean, that's a biracial couple. Yeah. I mean, that's like, and I love that film and like all the message of like bringing things from the homeland, a migrant story, immigrant story, you know, society accepting them, not like.
And that one became a sleeper hit. Like it didn't do well the first week, but then it did well over time. And I wish Elio could have gotten that same kind of attention because it was a really good movie.
People complain about not having good animation or good animated movies, and then you kind of forget most of the people that are talking out here on the web like we are our age. You know, they're adults, and so you have to step back if you're really going to watch these films with that eye. Because hey, if I was a 10-year-old or a 5-year-old watching this movie, would I enjoy it? Like I have a niece that fucking lost her mind over K-pop versus demons. Like lost her mind.
Such a good movie, by the way. Such a good movie.
I mean. Lost her mind. She watches it in English and in Spanish.
Has she watched it in Korean yet?
Not yet. She hasn't learned that much yet. But she like head over heels. Like, yeah, I mean, point is that there are these films, these shows, these books, everything that we always kind of geek out about. And we forget that we were all kids once. Like, you know, I enjoyed the Disney films when I was a kid, but I would now as an adult skip a lot of them because I know they're not geared towards me. I don't see any reason to, right? It's not for me. Like with music, there are times where we're fans of a certain band, and if they're still making music, at a certain point you realize, damn, this record or this new direction isn't for me because it's not written for me. Yeah. You know, it's not always about me. And I think that with Elio, I saw that and I go, oh, that looks cute. In my head, it reminded me of oh my God, I'm blanking. The other Disney Pixar movie, where they're on the island and they're mer people.
Yeah. It definitely has Luca. It definitely has a lot of that feel, and not in terms of animation, really. It's a little bit more grounded than Luca was. But both of them are definitely, along with Elemental, experimental in terms of like what people would expect from a Disney or Pixar movie. You know, because Disney, you expect stuff like, you know, Frozen or Tangled. And with Pixar, you expect stuff like Toy Story or Inside Out, where you're anthropomorphizing.
Kevin, did you hear they're making another Toy Story?
Yeah, I heard that. I didn't watch the last one. I don't think. What are they? This is 5 now.
Hey, Toy Story stopped at part 3. That's it. Like that's it. I put it to bed. I cried and I moved forward and I put those toys in the attic. I gave them to Bonnie. I'm good. I don't need
You just wanted them all
another
to melt.
Toy Story. Oh, that one scene where they're all like, what was it? Wasn't it that whole thing where footage leaked online, but it was just that last scene of them like going into an oven, and then it just stops, and the kids think that that's what happens. Fucking internet, it's great. Well, Elio, I might check it out because I have some free tickets that I've accumulated with points, and sometimes we just want to go watch a film on Sunday, so maybe do Elio because I'm waiting for Fantastic Four, which I know we're excited about.
Yeah,
and I told my son about it a little bit because he was like, "Well, why are you excited about this film?" Because again, remember, he's not the biggest comic book fan. And I told him the reason I'm excited for this is that it's the first time, at least correct me, Kevin, okay? Because you're my Marvel guy, but correct me in the films. I know it's different. Deep breath. It's different, but not too far. Okay, it's the first time we're seeing an alternate Earth that we have kind of like been considered like, okay, everything's happening on this Earth, this reality, this thing.
I think so. Officially, anyway, because like unofficially now we've got the Spider-Verse and all those other things. So, but yeah,
sure. So I'm saying
the
like
first time the MCU is like we're doing a full-on alternate reality, not just like visiting it for 5 minutes, like with the Multiverse of Madness. I still kind of wish they weren't doing that, but like I can deal.
Really?
But because
why?
I'm such a big fan of Fantastic Four being the center of the Marvel comic book universe that I wish they were, just introduced as.
But it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. This is the thing. Like this film,
but they will be established in a different reality first, which is like.
But I think we're gonna have to. It's gonna have to. The thing, the Avengers, right, are in our world, right? Let's just say the Avengers, right? The Avengers are the guys. So then, Fantastic Four show up, and maybe we have this rivalry. We don't know what's gonna happen, man. We don't know. True. But I feel like something's gonna happen to where a portal opens up, their Earth gets destroyed. Somehow maybe you can dig in the archives of Marvel and see if there's some thread that we can connect these two Earths into. But it will happen where we will get the Fantastic Four kind of like being that force because there are. Hold on, I'm comic book stuff's coming back. if I remember right, like without Reed, like that's when we start getting into the Illuminati, all that, which we've touched on already, right? Mm-hmm. And so we already had a version of that come through. So we technically, when he shows up from this world, or a melding happens, which you never know. Loki, right? If what would Loki do? We could get that whole rivalry between the Avengers versus Fantastic Four. I don't know. There could be something there, man. I'm excited to see what that brings to it because starting from a whole new world, we don't know what else is out there. What if, Kevin? What if? ... We start seeing more of those heroes that we never saw. That we always talked about. Hey, how come they didn't cover this guy? How come they don't have that guy? But in that world, they are established. I'm just saying.
My big question, though, who's going to win July? Superman or the Fantastic Four?
You tell me. Gillette. I'm going to say Fantastic Four.
All right. I'm hopeful. Don't get me wrong. I said last time this is probably my favorite Superman movie. I had to put some thought into that, whether or not I'd put it above the first Christopher Reeve movie or not. I think in the long run, I think I would. But yeah, I'm really, really hopeful for Fantastic Four. It's a movie that I've been wanting since Iron Man 1, So.
Wouldn't it have been so great if we ran things and we can go back? Let's do Iron Man, and then we do a Fantastic Four MCU, right? Like that would have just been like.
If I ran things and could go back, I would have ended Endgame with a restarting of the universe, like clean. I would have been like. The hero snaps it, and then we get a new world basically after that. And they could be new actors, could be some of the same actors, could be whatever, but a new reality. You know what I mean? But not one Iron Man focused, but maybe Captain Marvel focused or something else. But
there's so much out there, man. Even I think it's just we geek out because we just want the excitement that we get over these films to kind of spread massively, right? We want it to spread to everybody. I think last film that I want to just touch on, I think that I saw was the Phoenician Scheme. I talked about this a little bit last time.
Yeah, I'm a big Wes Anderson fan, but I have not seen his last two movies.
You're not missing anything by skipping Meteor City. I'll put it to you right now.
That. I had such high hopes for that movie.
Meteor City, here's a quick one. And you can read my review at myprimospodcast.com under the review section, by the way. It's right there for you, as well as the Phoenician Scheme review as well. Meteor City felt like, hey, I'm making an art movie with a bigger budget, and I'm only going to cater to people that were in my first period creative writing class that watched these black and white films from like the 30s and 40s. Like, this is what I want to do. They left so many loopholes. They introduced so many characters and so many side stories and did nothing with them. And then at the end of it, Jeff Goldblum's an alien. And then out of nowhere, it breaks the fourth wall. Dude, this movie sucks. The movie is like, trust me, you can. I'm telling you this much. It breaks the fourth wall, and not in the good way. It breaks it like, I don't want to know about production and casting. Like, this is not what I signed up for. Now, if it was done in a fantastical way, Wes Anderson does some goofy stuff, right? But this was just not good. So you can skip that. You'll be fine. I promise. Okay? It's a blind spot for that movie.
Real quick aside, from the description you gave me, if you want to have a movie that is weird and very stylistic and breaks the fourth wall to show you the behind the scenes of everything, watch Rubber. The movie about the tire that kills people with its mind. That is
you brought that up so many times.
Good movie.
You brought that up so much. I should watch it. Okay. I will make an effort to watch Rubber. And so the next time we meet and talk about films, I'll be able to discuss
You're
it.
like, what did you make me watch?
I'll watch it, though. I'll watch it. Okay, but Phoenician Scheme. Benicio del Toro, right? Star-studded. I mean, has a great cast. But he is the main character. He is basically dodging death because he is basically a broker. Like, he is just a broker in between different faculties to get made, businesses to be made. The Phoenician Scheme, in a sense, is that him trying to build a whole new, how do I describe it? It is the building blocks of a economy for a part of the world that doesn't have it. So everything from a train system, a goods system through oceans and seas, electricity, like everything he's trying to bring into this part of the world, and he's going to take his cut from every part of the business. And so the scheme is that he needs to get everybody on board with this, and he had them on board, but this is now we meet him where this is like the fourth or fifth attempt on his life. So he's so used to like being sought after. He has poison testers. People try his food. Every time he hears a noise in an airplane, he has to check what it is because either the pilot's dead or the engine's malfunctioning. Like, there's plots to kill him over and over again. And this last time, they thought he was dead. And so people started pulling out of the deal. And so his goal is to he has to use, and I say the word use because it's done that way, his estranged daughter that happens to be a nun in training. She's in line to become a nun, and make her the benefactor of the business. So if something were to happen to him, he's taught her all of his like trade secrets and all the dirty dealings that he has with everybody to make sure it happens. And there's a conflict there between she's trying to be morally correct, but then he said, hey, business at the end of the day, the world needs people like me to make it run because they need a system. They need electricity, they need water, they need goods, they need a transit system, like all these things. And it's a comedy because of how realistic it can be and how childish these barons of industry truly are at the end of the day. So I really recommend.
You mean to tell me that like billionaires and business people would just treat other human beings as like chess pieces that to be disposed of? I can't.
Of course. Come on, suspend your disbelief.
They only care about what are good.
Suspend your disbelief, my friend. But it's well done. Tom Hanks is in it. Scarlett Johansson's in it again. She's in a lot of his films. Doctor Strange is in it. What's his name? Cumberbatch.
I like that. Doctor Strange is in it. That's the thing.
That's the international sign, the sign language sign for Doctor Strange.
I was thinking about the other day, in the comics, he usually does this kind of thing, but in the movies, it's mostly this kind of thing.
Is it because he's not metal?
All I could think of is maybe Benedict Cumberbatch couldn't do this well enough, and they're like, let's just do a different hand thing,
Maybe, but yeah, I recommend the Phoenician Scheme. It's Wes Anderson. I would say it's a place in between. Not as goofy as so I would say it would be like the Royal Tenenbaums, because it is a family-oriented film in the sense like family is oriented in the story or the main focus of it. I would say Royal Tenenbaums, and we still get the Bill Murray in there, which is great. So we get some comedic stuff. I would say Royal Tenen. If you like Royal Tenenbaums and the what film was that? I'm blanking on the film. Sorry, I have to look it up now, guys. That's where it goes off of memory. But it is the one where, real quick here, guys. Bear with me. This is live, Primos. It's happening.
Of course, of course. Not Moonrise Kingdom, was it? Because that's Moonrise Kingdom was probably one of my favorites.
No, Moonrise Kingdom was great. Grand Budapest Hotel. It's like right
another
there.
One I haven't seen yet.
Grand Budapest Hotel, very, very well done. I think it's phenomenal, man. I think you'd like it a lot. Great casting. But yeah, Moonrise Kingdom is great too. But Isle of Dogs favorite. But the movie has like Bryan Cranston's in it. It's just a great movie. So definitely check it out. Phoenicia Scheme, worth it.
Primo approved.
You get some laugh out loud moments. Primo approved. I enjoy his films, and it is still kind of that whole like, there's a Wes Anderson. It's kind of kooky and weird here and there. But it's a really good story. I mean, Benicio del Toro, like, on screen is fucking, like, a beast, man. Like, he just kind of, like, just is an authority. And there is the jokes just hit. Like, the way he delivers them, they hit the right way. So I definitely recommend it. 100%. 100%. Man, Kevin, if all we could do is just talk about movies and comic books all day, right? If that's all we had to do, wouldn't that be great?
I mean, if we did that, I would want to do it in some kind of form that was recorded so people could listen to it and watch it, and maybe even support it if they liked it.
You know what? Definitely. Primos, check out our show on all your streaming platforms, YouTube, Spotify. I don't know why we haven't had it to where, and maybe it's an exclusive thing, but why not? I mean, podcasting is just evolving, but we still have the fans that do this audio-wise as opposed to video. For Primos, just I am gonna start kind of playing up more the audio of it, to be fair with you, Kevin, because I think that we do lose something in the fact that we kind of rely on the images here.
Yep.
But I think somehow, some way, maybe I'll try it the other day where I will have like the editor sit in on the production side of it, and then he'll just gonna describe things that are needing to be described. And it's like, and Kevin is using tiny hands, and he's using he's doing his finger signs, his gang signs, all that stuff. Like that's what we'll do. We'll have like a descriptive audio under it, so that way people can see their ears. But Kevin, I want to thank you for hanging out with me tonight, and Primos, you of course, thank you for showing up and watching the show. Go ahead and support Rosario. Go watch the film, and of course, pick up the Chispa book when it comes out here at the end of July. And follow us here at My Primos Podcast. Of course, Mr. Kevin Garcia. Follow him at Kevin Garcia_com. And Primos, as always, I tell you, check in on each other, check in with each other. And no matter where you're from, we're all Primos. Take care. Next time.
We out.